I'm Conjoint Professor Mike Hazelton, and I'm also a UniSearch expert in the area of mental health and the law. An area of particular importance, I think, when we think about our working lives and our own well-being, our own health, is really the ways in which we might go about actually dealing with the pressures and stresses that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And I think it might be helpful perhaps to put this in the context of how all of this has become much more pressing in the period of the pandemic. I think work pressures have always been there, but in the era of the pandemic and in the years to come, when we start to move toward a post-pandemic situation, it's unlikely that many of these pressures will subside rapidly. So how do we look after ourselves? What can we do to make sure that we don't drive ourselves into a situation literally of running on empty? Well, there are all sorts of practical things that we could consider, and they range from, getting a decent night's sleep, making sure that you're eating well, making sure that your meals are not on the run, that you've got the right balance of eating out and eating at home. Taking opportunities to take time off on the weekends. We've all got annual leave, and many of us find it easy to find all sorts of justifications for not taking that annual leave. Sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we might say, look, I just can't take that leave. I just can't have that weekend away at the moment. I think it can be really important as a kind of a circuit breaker then to ask yourself, if you find that sort of idea running through your head, to ask yourself, well, why can't I really? What's stopping me? What might enable me to actually have a little bit of downtime? Surely we all deserve it, given how hard we work. So the practical things might be everything from, going for a walk every day for 30 minutes. Even during your lunch break, give yourself a lunch break, take a sandwich and go for a walk in the park near your workplace, or even around the block while you're having the sandwich. Get away from your computer. Set yourself a timer. And every 2 hours or so, if you're spending days on end at your computer, get up and just go for a walk around the office for 5 or 10 minutes. Go and get yourself a glass of water. Go and talk to another colleague for 5 or 10 minutes, just to make yourself get up out of the seat for that period of time. In terms of meals, perhaps remembering to pack your own lunch and take it to work, rather than saying, look, I'll just get something on the run when I can manage to slip it into my work day. These things can seem inconsequential on a day-by-day basis, but I think to neglect them, to avoid them, to find ways of not getting, of not taking the time that's necessary to look after yourself can have a really negative cumulative effect. And in the end, if you're not careful, or we're not careful, we can all end up very much running on empty, and that means we're just not working at anything near our best.